You might be looking at me wondering why a woman with a white-sounding name is talking about Iran. Well, have I got a story for you? My Iranian immigrant mother named me after a model presenter on the television game show, The Price is Right. And in 1999, just weeks before my 13th birthday, my mother and stepfather thought it would be a great idea to deprive me of my school crush with 90s boy band hair, prom, the ability to wear shorts and tank tops, and all the stereotypical things an American teenage girl looks forward to, and move me from Southern California to the Islamic Republic of Iran. It would be one of the most consequential experiences of my life. At the time, I hated Iran, simply because I didn't understand it. No one had bothered to sit me down and explain to me what had happened to this country with so much history and depth, how it went from being ruled by a crown to a turban. As I came of age in Iran, I learned to separate its repressive government from its extraordinary society. For more than 4 decades, the Islamic Republic has not been letting Iranians live, but Iranians have always been living, mostly behind closed doors. They danced at house parties and smuggled the latest chart-topping albums and blockbusters. Despite being internationally isolated, they knew what was happening in the world and could even name-drop the past 8 US presidents, something the average American struggles with. And while the Islamic Republic wore away at their souls since 1979, their kindness and hospitality was still unmatched. Through my daily interactions, I came to be proud of my Iranian heritage and to appreciate my lived experience there. It's what inspired me to become an Iran analyst, to explain to the world the Iran that I knew, beyond the stereotypes and headlines. Now, I can no longer travel back to Iran because in 2013, I was interrogated and threatened with imprisonment over my op-eds. So I rely on open source investigations like social media to get a pulse on society. For the past few years, I've noticed a new generation refusing to live behind closed doors. Iranian Gen Z, or Dahe Hashtadiya as they're known in Persian. In the fall of 2022, they rose up for change against the clerical establishment after a young Kurdish Iranian woman by the name of Mahsa Jina Amini was murdered at the hands of the so-called morality police for allegedly violating mandatory hijab rules.
MashaAllah.
It was the viral photo of Mahsa Jina hooked up to an ICU that prompted the explosive Persian language and later English hashtag Mahsa Amini. That anger online poured into the streets of Iran and lit up all 31 provinces of the country. Braving bullets and batons, women and girls were at the forefront of these protests, supported by their male allies, risking their lives for freedom. The state responded with brute force, killing at least 550 people, including 68 children, and arresting up to 60,000, according to the United Nations fact-finding mission, which also found that crimes against humanity were committed. Some of those beautiful souls will be featured today. While the Women Life Freedom Movement is no longer an international news item, it's still ongoing. And what drew me to this generation of youth wasn't just their defiance and the fact that they made up to 60% of Iran's 90 million population. It was because they look familiar. They reminded me of myself in Tehran, albeit with Western privilege, through a US passport. We dressed in the same oversized fashion, including skater clothes. We also like dyeing our hair the colors of the rainbow. In my case, red, teal, fuchsia. We also replicated our favorite pop singers' dance moves. Let's kill this love. Yeah, 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 yeah. And belted their hit songs at the top of our lungs. Take me to church, like a dog at the shore of your life. I'll take you my sins and you can shout in your night. Offer me that necklace dance. But unlike my parents, theirs had to survive the darkest years of the Islamic Republic, including the 1988 massacre of more than 5,000 political prisoners, which President Ibrahim Raisi, who recently died in a helicopter crash, was nicknamed the Butcher of Tehran for. These parents, as they came of age, had to fight for the most simple of liberties. So when they had their own children, they gave them more room to grow and express themselves. These youth witnessed a lot of turmoil in their country. They were just children during the 2009 post-election protests known as the Green Movement, which rocked Iran after the regime stole the results of a presidential election, killing dozens and later leading to mass arrests. They were just teenagers when the bloody November 2019 protests kicked off in response to a triple fuel price hike. Security forces, under the dark cover of a total internet shutdown, killed a reported 1,500 protesters, including children. So these youth came of age in an Iran with no hope, under an Islamic republic marred by systemic mismanagement, corruption, and repression, and any notion of reform dead. They also have a voice, their very own Kendrick Lamar, or, if you want a throwback, Tupac Shakur. Rapper Tumaja Salehi.
اون مجرمه و تو تضمینه اون رو جنایت مهر تایید بکن سبزی اسکناس با ترکیب خون از سینما رکس تا متروپول ایده جنایت تا تصویبش از خاک هوا تا گل تو آب از آبادان تا اندیمشک جای پول رو سینه خرم شهر بوی مرگ میده ایران اسیر زندان ظلم و جنوب توی تبیده من دنبال صلحم مسیرم جنگ.
This lyrical genius vocalized the anger and frustrations of this generation through rap Farsi, or Persian language hip-hop. In an interview, he once told me, quote, "The youth and teenagers don't see a future," unquote. Tumaj is now on death row purely for his music. Iranian Gen Z might resonate with you because they're part of the globalized generation. That is, they're the first to be born with satellite dishes, albeit illegal, to watch the latest Taylor Swift music video and to catch up on Rick and Morty. They're also the first to be born with internet and social media at their fingertips, although with savvy knowledge of circumvention tools, because practically all platforms are banned in Iran. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, you name it. These youth see how the rest of the world live and want the same normal life. This was best reflected with the de facto protest anthem, Baroye, or For the Sake of, by Iran-based singer Shervina Hajipour, which won a Grammy, by the way. In its lyrics, he talks about Iranians wanting the most basic of freedoms, the right to dance, the right to kiss a lover in the streets, and of course, the right to be free. When we talk about Gen Z, we're talking about 30% of the world's population. Of course, each and every one of them have different hopes, dreams, aspirations. But there's one thing that's certain about this generation. They won't stand for whatever cards their government deals them. Whether living under an autocracy or democracy, they won't settle for less. And as the geriatric clerics at the top attempt to rein in Iranian Gen Z, they've grown bolder and more outspoken. Have you ever seen how grass crushes concrete and springs to life between the cracks of a sidewalk. That's Iranian Gen Z for you. Unchained, unbound, unbroken. With blood and tears, laughter and joy, they're giving the Islamic Republic hell. It's this generation that will hopefully topple the theocracy under the Islamic Republic and bring change not just to Iran, but one that reverberates through the region. Heed their call. Jin, jian, azadi. Zan, zendegi, azadi. Women, life, freedom. Thank you.